Today we're talking about why the INFJ self-sabotage is so hard to quit. So very often you see INFJs who admit to themselves that they're actually the problem. Very often there are people who think like their life isn't where they want it to be, but it's always somebody else's fault. INFJs tend to internalize this and actually even get to a place where they want to take control, where they say, okay, I need to change some things about myself. You will hear INFJs say, I know I have to work on my self-confidence. I know I have to work on, moving forward, of taking care of myself, of taking steps for myself. But the result remains that so many INFJs have all of these intentions, have all of these great visions that they create with their intuition or with their NI mind, and still life doesn't seem to move forward. And so the question becomes, where's this coming from? Where is this self-sabotage actually based at? What are INFJs doing that is first off holding them back? And second of all, why is it so hard to quit that? We're going to talk about it today, and even more so, we're going to talk about how to change that, because we have to work with our own psychology. We can't work against those things that become very normal to us. We have to make it easy on ourselves. So we're going to figure this all out so you can take it and start today step by step and change your life and remove those self-sabotaging behaviors all together. Before we get started, remember, if you haven't done this so far, to download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take your transformational journey to the next level, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the links in the description. So what are those typical self-sabotaging behaviors? Well, if you really look at it and you would write down a list, it comes down to, I'm not taking steps that are making my life better. And this goes for your finances, this goes for your relationships, this goes for your career choices, and pretty much our energy altogether. But you might say, okay, that's the same thing for everybody. Why is it so difficult for INFJs to take those steps? It's because the way our self-sabotage manifests, it's not easily visible. We're not the typical people who you could find on a reality show that have drama with all their friends, where you can say, okay, it's obvious. That person just always, goes for situations that cause them drama. We're not the typical people who just do things that are not healthy for us, which are obvious, like staying out all night, not taking care of enough alone time, meditating, caring about like personal development. We have all of those things in place. Those are not the typical things we need to worry about. And on top of that, so many of our self-sabotages come from a place of good intention. We want to help other people. We want to live in our dream state, and we want to stay in a place of harmony. Who has something against that? This isn't like an aim or an intention that other people would question. So how do we get to a place from where we know, okay, actually have good intentions, I want to help others, I don't want to cause drama, I don't do those typical things like binge drinking or staying out like at all hours of the day and not taking enough time for myself. We're not doing all of those things. What are the things that we need to do? We need to prioritize ourselves and our future. And we have to do it in a way that we haven't done before. Because as long as we think that the way things are going, things are great, nothing is going to change. But what's also not going to work, and this is what INFJs do all the time, I know I've been guilty of this many times, is to reflect on it. I need to work on myself. There is a sense of lack of self-worth. So what do? I listen to meditation about self-love. I take steps like, writing a journal, what is good for me. Those things are very important, but they're only half of the equation. And we're already making sure we're doing this. A lot of people are not. You are probably already on that road. But what we need to do is take action to force ourselves to change our reality, so we have to actually address what is going on underneath. And it's much easier to deflect from that if we just work on it and reflect on it. But if we take action, and there's definitely going to be a result from this, then you are going to be forced to acknowledge it, to work through it, and then really remove this self-sabotage. I give you an example. Imagine you're always in a place where you people please. You always are in situations where you say, all of my relationships, it doesn't matter if it's my private life, it doesn't matter if it's at work, I want to include others. I want to make sure we're all a team, everybody's winning. But the people around me sort of like make sure that their needs are met. And I'm trying to make sure that all of our needs are met. And so what is the result? That in the end, my needs are not met. So what is an action that you could take? An action that you could take is, for example, if you're at work and you see that your colleagues are, putting themselves first, taking credit for your work maybe. If you see any situation like this, remember, okay, I have to make sure that I take credit for my work. I have to do this. So this works against absolutely everything that we have been taught all our life. And not just from society, but what we have taught ourselves in order to fit in order to create harmony, in order to do good for everybody, right? We have learned we're going to be a team. I'm not going to leave anybody behind. But if we don't put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, guess what? That's self-sabotage. And that's the kind of self-sabotage that plays out in your life as an INFJ. We have to become aware of this. This is going to be the biggest change when it comes to removing those self-sabotaging behaviors. And it's not going to work by you saying, okay, I'm just going to sit at home and I'm going to reflect on it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to write down what is important to me. Please do those things. But that's not all. The thing you have to do is next time when you're at work and you're in a similar situation, you make sure that you take credit for your work. You put it out front. You make it obvious that this is your thing. Although all of those thoughts come up, like people are going to think I'm selfish, I'm self-centered, I'm just out for my own profit, I'm just out for my own, getting ahead. All of these worries and all of these fears will come up, and we have to face them. We have to take those steps despite those feelings. We cannot wait for those feelings just to subside, because once you take those steps, you're going to get some reaction. You're going to get a reaction from your coworker who, up until this point, was always able to take credit for your work. And now you take credit for your work, so they cannot do this anymore, right? You're not taking credit for their work. All you're doing is taking credit for your work. That colleague is definitely going to have a reaction. And that reaction will most likely be in some kind of way of, oh, you're not a team player. Oh, you're putting yourself first. Whatever it may be. And this mirrors exactly your biggest fears in this situation. So if this happens, what is happening psychologically with you? You are forced to actually feel those feelings. You're actually forced to feel the shame. You're forced to feel, not being good enough, not being accepted, the fear of abandonment, like deeply psychological things that you have been carrying with yourself for years, decades, all your life probably. And when you do this, and you do this with intention, you do this and you're not allowing those emotions to overpower you. You look at it in a way of, this feels horrible. I know this is an uncomfortable feeling. I know I look like a total selfish, person here. It's not what I want people to think of me, but that's the way it is. What's going to happen? You feel it, and at some point you heal it. Because you cannot grieve over this forever. This shame subsides. The reason why shame sticks with us, the reason why the fear of situations like this doesn't go away, is because we're not experiencing it to the fullest. We're not allowing it to happen and witness it. It's the same thing with anxiety. You have to sort of take it in and know that it will subside. But if you try to bypass it over and over again, it stays with you. It stays right under the surface, and it will hinder you from moving forward. Because it's not just about this one situation. It's not that you have to tell yourself, okay, from now on, It's going to be uncomfortable every single time. And so every single time I'm in a situation at work, for example, I have to feel this massive guilt of being selfish, of being somebody who's not a team player. No. You only feel this in the beginning. You only feel this until you have become accustomed to it. And then you acknowledge that you're not doing anything bad to begin with. If you're a basketball player, for example, your goal is to score. You're not thinking about, oh, okay, but then the other team is going to feel bad. That's not in the game. That's not in the cards here. This is a game. And you are actually showing respect to the other person by allowing them to fight for themselves. Again, this is not about not being a team player. You can always be a team player, but you have to start from a place of I have to make sure that I don't give more to others than I give of myself, because this will deplete you. This will stay with you, and you will, in the long term, not be a benefit to others anyway. You're actually enabling that coworker, because at some point they will get to a place where there isn't you anymore next to them. And who are they going to take credit from then? Whose work are they going to say is theirs? See, this is something we've been taught all our life, and something we have learned of, okay, I'm just going to be the best support system for the people around me, and therefore they will want me around. This happens on a deep level. This is not something we do consciously. So all you're doing is saying, I'm not allowing people to take credit for my work. That's all. That's all that's happening in that situation. And if the other person will automatically take credit for your work, if you don't take it for yourself, that's a step you have to take. And before you know it, you will know that it's just a necessity. It's a necessity in order to be psychologically healthy. And when you do that, you will not constantly be in those self-sabotaging situations. You will see this in your personal relationships when you define what you want. I want somebody who calls me 3 times a week. I want somebody who makes sure that on Saturdays we always do this one activity. That's what I need, that's what I want, and you're not forcing anybody to it. You're just demanding it, and the other person can decide, is this a compromise I'm willing to make or not? But very often we come from a place of, oh, I know the other person doesn't want this, so I'm not even asking for it. Why are you in that moment thinking it's better to neglect your own needs than to demand from another person, if they want to be with you? Remember, nobody's forcing them to do that they actually adapt to you a little bit. A typical thing I always say is this example of us INFJs being in the car with other people. How often will an INFJ just free-spiritedly put on a music he or she likes? Most of the time, we will just think about, okay, what do they want to listen to? What is something that makes them feel good? You're being a good host at that moment, but you're prioritizing what others want over your own want. If others would do that, you wouldn't even think about it. If you step into your friend's car and they're listening to their music, you would never think, oh, what a selfish person. Why don't they change the music? But that's exactly what you think about yourself if you would do that. But only through taking action, we can actually confront those fears that are behind this, that are forcing us to think about, oh, how are others going to react? See, if you make a conscious choice that you want to compromise, that's a good thing. But very often, and we have to stop underestimating this, we're making those decisions based on an internal fear of not being liked, of showing our hands, of being vulnerable, whatever it may be, right? It's really deeper than this. So try this out. And I can tell you that is the main reason why quitting those self-sabotaging behaviors is so difficult, because it doesn't come from a place of, okay, I just do things that are bad for my body. I smoke all the time. I drink all the time. I stay out. I have fights with people. No, we come from a place of harmony. We come from a place of teamwork. We come from a place of holistic healing. And with that in mind, of course, it's easy to acknowledge self-sabotaging behavior, to become aware of it. And of course, it's also difficult to fix it. But if you say, from now on, I'm going to take actions that I know from a rational standpoint are a necessary step, although they make me feel bad in the moment, you will make progress. You will get to a place where you're not automatically thinking about what is good for others and you completely neglect yourself. It's not going to happen. And you don't have to fear that you will become this egomaniac, this person who's grandiose, who doesn't think about others at all. Trust me, just try it out. If you get to a place where you say, I have turned into this selfish human being, if you actually get to this place, that's already a sign that, you recognize it and that you're going to correct it. Because of course, I've been in situations where afterwards I thought, okay, that was a little bit too harsh. I didn't have to demand so much to go to the restaurant that I wanted. I know the other person wanted this more. But this happens once. This happens maybe twice. You recognize this and you course correct. You apologize and it's all good. But if you are somebody who tends to go in the direction of self-sabotage, which most INFJs do, then we have to lean into the other direction. Let's go a little bit too far. Only then you will get this place where okay, now I found my balance. Now I found a healthy, peaceful medium where I don't self-sabotage. I'm still being a good friend. I'm being a good coworker. I'm being whatever I want to be. And my life is actually moving forward. I don't feel like I'm neglecting my own needs. Try it out. Let me know in the comments what your experience is with this. Remember to download the poster so you can start this transformational journey now. If you want to take it to the next step, work with me privately. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why the INFJ Can't Be Happy with a Normal Life.